Hi guys, this is R.A. Sweeney here to read you another excerpt from the book Praying with the Writings from the Praying with the Bible series. Today I wanted to read from Ezra chapter 9. This chapter presents us with an interesting prayer. It's certainly a long prayer. It's filled with passion and emotion. The prayer itself seems great. Ezra was devastated to hear that the people had not followed the Torah in regard to marriage. This might seem like a strange issue to focus on, but it was a huge issue in Jewish culture. If you think through the story of the kings, marrying women who were not following God caused the kings to be terrible in all kinds of ways. Think of Jezebel corrupting Ahab in the last few chapters of 1 Kings. Think of Solomon and his 1,000 wives. Think of David and Bathsheba. Think even of Adam and Eve. Even in the New Testament, the issue is brought up a few times, most notably in 2 Corinthians 6, where Paul extends this wisdom to faithful men marrying unfaithful women and to faithful women marrying unfaithful men. The prayer very clearly expresses Ezra's heart. He was terrified that the sins which led them into Babylonian exile had returned to Jerusalem with them, just as sin had followed Noah onto the ark and into the new creation after the flood. He was ashamed for the people because they had just received punishment for decades and immediately turned back to their sins as soon as God showed favor. In all this, he repented on behalf of the people, just as Daniel had done. The entire prayer was Ezra confessing the sin of the people in disobeying God's law. It is a wonderful and detailed confession of their sin. But notice what's missing in the prayer: reconciliation. At no point in the long confession was a request for forgiveness made. At no point did Ezra try to be reconciled. He merely listed out the problem. There's something in human nature that makes asking for forgiveness much harder than it should be. Ezra demonstrates that so well here because he waxed eloquent on the confession, but even with all of his own evidence stacked against him, he never thought to ask for forgiveness. The other thing missing in this prayer is any seeking. At no point did he ask God for wisdom or direction to move forward. He never asked God what to do to make it right. It reminds me of the times when I, as a man, know exactly what my wife wants. Anyone who's been in a relationship should laugh at the idea because humans are terrible at accurately guessing what others want, especially so for husbands knowing what wives want. How much more are we often bad at guessing God's plans? As it turned out, Ezra guessed what God wanted as well as I guess what my wife is thinking. In his massive confession, Ezra concocted his own plan to fix the problem, rather than seeking how God wanted to fix it. Just as Adam and Eve tried to fix their sin rather than ask for forgiveness. I think we can learn something from Ezra's prayer. I think this is one of the best confessions recorded in the Bible. Ezra laid it all out without excuse. Do we confess like that? But we can see that when Ezra didn't seek reconciliation and enacted his own plan for correction of the problem, it led only to death. So when we sin, do we confess and ask forgiveness? And ask how God would have us act in response? So that's what I wrote for Ezra chapter 9 for the book Praying with the Writings. I hope it was a blessing, and stay tuned and we'll work through some more of the book. Thanks, guys.